Today I want to talk to you about flat roof membranes. This is a question we get a lot. What type do we have on our roof now? What would we be going back with? What will the repairs consist of? So I want to just address that in this quick video today. Hello Chicago, I'm Jim from Anchor Point Roofing. Welcome to another edition of our YouTube channel where we talk about roof and roof related repairs in and about the city of Chicago. What's on our flat roof in Chicago? There's 4 different membranes that we see a lot, 2 or 3 that are more common. I want to go over those today. Some of the pros and cons for each, and then residential for commercial, kind of what we see on each one. So the 4 main types, you're going to see a modified bitumen. That's probably on 90% of the roofs here in Chicago. We've got TPO, which is thermoplastic olefin. It's a white membrane. A lot of residential clients are starting to use that, and it's a little more commercial also. You've got PVC, which is very similar to a TPO. PVC is great for restaurants, and I'll go into that a little bit later. Why? So it's generally used on more commercial projects as well. We've also done some residential projects here in Chicago with PVC polyvinyl chloride. And then EPDM, ethylene propylene dinemometer. I just like to say that word. This one we don't use a whole lot. It's a little bit of an older product. It's used on a lot of commercial roofings. It's a dark membrane that's glued together, which I don't completely like. So we don't install that a lot, but you will see that on some large commercial buildings here in Chicago. The first one I want to talk about is modified bitumen, short for mod bit in the roofing world. There's a granulated one. Here it is. I've got a sample. So the modified bitumen is an asphalt product. This one's got the little rocks and granules on it, so it reflects the UV. If you can kind of see that, it's not too thick. The small rocks are basalt and slate mainly. It helps with reflectivity, a little bit of aesthetics. You can get it in a few different colors. Here in Chicago, we use a lot of white because of its reflectivity properties. It's heat welded together with the propane torch. This patch here is where you would heat weld the seam together, so you're not heat welding right on the granules. There's a picture of it, very similar to what we have here. You can see. So modified bitumen with granules are one of the first ones. Here's an application where we put it down. It's torch applied. You can see they're standing on the granules. And then this strip out here is where the seams overlap. You don't want to heat weld right on the granules all the time, or it needs to be prepped properly. Here's a large repair we did last year where we're using the modified with the granules. And here's a finished product. Got a breather vent and things in here, but you'll see it comes in 36-inch rolls. Again, granulated modified bitumen roof. The next one I'm going to talk about is the smooth modified bitumen. Again, it's mod bit, but it's a smooth, and we put an aluminum coating on it because it doesn't have the granules. Got a piece here of smooth modified bitumen. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick. This side is heat welded. It's got a little film on it. They burn the back of it off. This turns a little bit viscous, it gets a little bit liquidy, and man, it adheres and sticks awesome to parapets and the other membrane. It does require an aluminum coating every 4 to 6 years if it's exposed to the UV. That just helps protect it from the UV, because what eats up the asphalt product, that mod bit, is mainly the UV. That's the hardest part on it. So you want to make sure there's a silver or aluminum coating on it. Very hardy membrane, and it's installed in a torch method like the granulated modified bitumen too. So this is not a roof we did, but this is one we inspected. This has the silver coating on it. So most of you, I would say 90% of homeowners are going to see modified bitumen on your roof, and this is probably similar to what you're seeing. Here they've got it going way up the parapet wall, but this is the modified with an aluminum coating on it, and this is kind of what you're going to see on your roof. Here's just another picture of modified. We got a breather vent in here. You can see where it's been heat welded together. We call this the bleed out. It comes in 36-inch rolls, and it's smooth modified bitumen. This one does not have the aluminum coating on it yet. The next one I want to talk about is TPO, thermoplastic polyolefin. It's typically white, and it's known for its reflective properties. A lot of people like to use it because it does reflect the UV so well. This one is a TPO. This one's a 60 mil, so it's a little bit thinner. I don't know if you can see that, a little bit thinner than the modified bitumen. One of the advantages of this is it does come in 10 to 12 foot rolls, where the modified bitumen only comes in 3 foot rolls. So obviously less seams is going to be a little better as far as anything ever leaking. It is heat applied, but we use basically like what I call like a super high powered hair dryer or blow dryer to weld it together. Now it gets to 400 or 500 degree temperatures. Not something you want to do your hair with, but that's how this is heat welded together. And then in the long run, you've got less maintenance than a modified bitumen. You know, the smooth that we talked about, you need to put the aluminum coating on it every 3 years. This, in theory, other than roof inspections, should not need a lot of maintenance. You don't put any kind of coating on this. You can when it's really old, but that's a video for another time. So the next one I want to talk about, well, here is a TPO job that we're doing recently. These are skylights, but you can see the TPO is white, very reflective, will keep your roof cooler in the summer. Here's one that we're working on now. We just did it in the past few weeks down on South Loomis. Here's just a few more. You can see here we've done a cricket out of the TPO with a pitch pan, and just another TPO roof that we've done. Just a few different pictures of what the TPO membrane looks like installed. PVC roofs, again, I mentioned earlier, they're great for restaurants. So grease and oil, animal fats, the PVC is a much better membrane for a restaurant. On restaurants, you've got those large vents where the exhaust comes out from the kitchen and cooking and things like that. And a PVC roof will hold up much better with that animal fat and the grease versus like an EPDM or a TPO. So if you're doing a restaurant, a lot of restaurants will have PVC. PVC laughs at grease and oil. It doesn't care. It's white. I didn't have a piece of PVC today, but it's white and reflective. So it's got some of those same reflective properties that TPO is going to have. Again, reflects that sun, keeps your building cooler in the summer. You've got the strong heat welded seams. PVC also comes in the 10 to 12 foot rolls. So you've got less seams like you would for a modified bitumen. PVC, we use it some. I'd say probably 3% of our jobs are actually PVC, but if you're getting a new commercial building on a restaurant, you want to strongly look into the PVC membrane. Some of the drawbacks for PVC, it is a little bit more expensive. In the super cold temperatures, you can't really install it great. You can do it when it's cold, but it gets a little more brittle. The polyvinyl chloride, there's some PVC hats that I wear a lot, and they just don't fit me well. This is a cone for a waste stack, and you can see it looks good on me, but it's not a perfect fit. So that's one of the drawbacks too. Lastly, the EPDM, this long name that I talked about, it is almost always a black membrane that's glued on rather than with the hair dryer I talked about or the torches you saw earlier. It's put together with a really strong adhesive. And they are good roofs as long as it's installed properly, but we just don't see that as much. Some really large commercial buildings still have it. You can get EPDM in a different color. I think they've got some tans and things like that, but generally you're gonna see a dark EPDM, which obviously doesn't reflect the UV as well. But a lot of large commercial buildings, and it's glued together with adhesive, so not a lot of heat welding. It still can be reliable, but you need to really know what you're doing to install an EPDM roof. Here's one with some skylights. You can see it's a dark membrane. It looks really nice and smooth. A lot of times with EPDM, we'll have what's called a ballast roof. So this EPDM in here, this was just pulled back so that a repair can be made, but it's ballast. So this is river rock. Rock that's been in the river for a long time. It's smooth and round. So then when it's dumped on the EPDM, it doesn't wreck it. There's no sharp edges. But why they do this EPDM is loose laid. So they'll adhere the seams, and then it's loose laid. Like if a lot of wind came by before you got the gravel on, it can actually, float around. And then the gravel is put on there, one, to hold it down, and two, to reflect the UV. This protects it. The rocks protect the EPDM from that ultraviolet rays that we talked about earlier. So again, EPDM not used much, large commercial projects, A lot of ballast roofs on commercial projects, you'll see it on or under 2. So what do we recommend? What do we typically see? I think I mentioned earlier, I would guess that 90% of the roofs in Chicago, the flat roofs, are modified bitumen. Either a version of the smooth that I talked about or the granulated with the little rocks. So most of the time you're gonna see a modified bitumen. My guys are great at it. The guys I have are pretty much all ex-union and experts at the modified bitumen installation. I like the product. It's a little thicker and a little hardier in my opinion. While most roofs that we put on and the majority of roofs you see in Chicago are going to be modified bitumen, the TPO is gaining ground for residential. It's typically used more on commercial projects, but the TPO is gaining ground all the time for residential roof installs. So that's it. That's my summary of the 4 membranes that we kind of typically see here. The 2 main ones, mod, bit, and TPO. That's my presentation for today, Chicago. I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much.